The story of the Italian Mafia did not begin with famous gangsters in expensive suits or dramatic police chases. It began many centuries ago on the island of Sicily, where fear was part of everyday life. Sicily stood in the center of the Mediterranean Sea, making it an important place for trade, travel, and war because of its location. Many powerful kingdoms and foreign empires fought to control the island. The Greeks came first, then the Romans later. The Arabs, the Normans, the Spanish, and many others ruled the land. Every new ruler promised peace and justice, but for ordinary people, life rarely became easier. Farmers worked long hours. Families lived in small villages, surrounded by fields and hills. Roads were dangerous, and government officials were often far away. When problems appeared, there was usually nobody to help over time. People stopped trusting the authorities. Instead, they trusted their relatives, close friends, and respected local men. Loyalty became more important than the law. Silence became a form of protection. These simple ideas would slowly grow into something much darker. During the 19th century, Sicily changed again. Large estates covered the countryside, and wealthy landowners needed people to protect their farms, animals, and harvests. The government was weak, and police forces were small. Armed groups stepped into this empty space. At first, they called themselves protectors. They offered security to landowners and promised to keep thieves away. But protection soon became a business built on fear. If someone refused to pay, strange accidents happened. Crops disappeared, buildings burned, animals were poisoned. The message was always clear: paying was safer than refusing. Little by little, these groups became stronger than the local authorities. They solved disputes, collected money, punished enemies, and demanded absolute loyalty. People rarely spoke about them in public. They followed an unwritten rule called Omertà, the law of silence. Speaking to the police was considered the greatest betrayal. In many villages, silence became more powerful than justice itself. As these organizations became more organized, they formed families led by powerful bosses. Each family controlled a different territory. Every member had a role. Every order had to be obeyed. New members went through secret ceremonies where they promised complete loyalty. Even if it meant sacrificing their own lives, honor, respect, and obedience became the foundation of the organization. But behind these noble words stood violence, intimidation, and murder. Anyone who challenged the family's authority could disappear without warning. Fear spread quietly through towns and cities. The mafia learned that controlling people's minds was often more powerful than using guns. If everyone believed resistance was impossible, very few people would ever try. At the end of the 19th century, another opportunity appeared. Millions of Italians left their homelands searching for a better future. Poverty pushed families onto crowded ships, crossing the Atlantic Ocean toward the United States. Among honest workers and hopeful families traveled members of mafia organizations. They carried their traditions, their secret rules, and their criminal networks with them. Cities like New York, Chicago, and New Orleans soon became new homes for Sicilian crime families. At first, they stayed close to immigrant neighborhoods, where many people still spoke Italian and trusted familiar faces more than government officials. In Sicily began to grow again. Protection became extortion. Friendship became control. Silence remained the most valuable weapon in America. The mafia discovered opportunities that were impossible to imagine. Back in Sicily, rapid industrial growth created busy cities filled with businesses, factories, restaurants, docks, and construction projects. Wherever money moved, organized crime looked for a way to control it. Local businesses were forced to pay for protection. Gambling houses operated in secret. Illegal loans trapped desperate families in endless debt. Corrupt politicians accepted money in exchange for favors. Some police officers looked the other way. The mafia understood that power did not always come from violence. Sometimes a handshake inside an expensive office was far more valuable than a gun in the street. Everything changed in 1920 when the United States introduced Prohibition. The government banned the production and sale of alcoholic drinks. Lawmakers believed this decision would reduce crime and improve public morality. Instead, it created one of the biggest illegal markets in modern history. Millions of Americans still wanted to drink. Someone was ready to supply them. Mafia families quickly organized secret breweries, hidden warehouses, and complex transportation networks. Trucks carried illegal alcohol across states during the night.